Hello and welcome to The Tactician, the show where we break down and dissect all the moves and moments that you need to know ahead of this weekend's action in the Isuzu A-League. Joining me to do so is the Tactician himself, A-League champion, Daniel McBreen. Macca, it's a massive game this weekend. Western Sydney Wanderers against Melbourne Victory. We know the home side are very good going forward, but we want to talk about Melbourne Victory this week. Arthur Dillis has a plethora of options up front. The big question is the battle of the two strikers. Who do you think he's going to pick? Who's got the best case for starting this game and maybe coming on as a finisher? Bruno Fornaroli, Nikos Vergos. Should we start with Bruno Fornaroli?
Yeah, let's have a look at Bruno Fornaroli. Now, despite Bruno not being the quickest player, he's scored most of his goals from getting in behind the lines. Now, look at his run here. Across the line to make sure he's onside. Daniel Arzani had drawn the defender out into the space to create that space into the back area. We see it from the other angle when it flips here. Watch his run. He goes across the line. Daniel Arzani has now brought the defender into this area, which creates all this space in behind. And when Bruno gets into that area, he's very skillful on the ball, sends Brian Kaltak one way, then comes back outside and then finishes well. Again, we see here, they're deep in their own half, Melbourne Victory. Again, we talk about Bruno Fornaroli. Look at his body.
Something that we're not used to seeing or thinking of.
Correct. Right? So he runs across the line of the defender, which stalls his run, and he does it again at the end when he brings the ball under pressure. He's very, very good at using his body and bringing players into him and then shielding the ball. He could have even gone down potentially there to get a penalty, but he's strong enough and composed enough to use his body to get the goal.
Now show us what's so key about this goal, because people will think, oh, this is late in the game. It's not. It's the 39th minute.
Yep.
What's so good about what Bruno does here?
Well, just what he did there was perfect. He slowed down to allow the defender to come near him again and then used his body to block him as he played the ball. It was perfectly timed and he slowed the defender down.
So now, you see it here.
You see here, as he's drawing, he's looking, he's thinking, when do I play? There comes the defender. Now you can see now he's created a distance, knows Daniel Arzani's got the pace, and now he's away for the easy square ball tap in. As I said, although he's not quick, he uses his smarts and his ability and his body and strength to get in behind. Now this is pure perfection in his placement, in his positioning on the field. They've been drawn forward, the opposition. Look at him, off the shoulder. He knows his player on the ball can play that ball. Gets a little lucky there, I guess, with the bounce of the ball, but he gets it under control, and we know he's lethal in those areas to put it away.
You touch on the backside. I mean, people would laugh at when you say that, but one of Bruno's best mates is Luis Suarez, who people said was the best in the world at doing it. You've been a centre forward. You know what it's like. How effective is that?
It's almost a dying art as well. We're seeing so many strikers, and we spoke last week about strikers who are mobile and quick and run into spaces for first-time finishes. The art of using your body to pin a defender and then roll them and feeling it is a really unique art. You've got to be strong, you've got to get down low, and you've got to be able to feel the opposition and use that as the ball comes, use them to manipulate your movements to get that time and space. Bruno Fornaroli's shown time and time again that he's a master at that.
So that's the case for Bruno Fornaroli. His rival, if you like, for a starting spot in the team is Nikos Vergos. What do you like about Nikos Vergos? What does the Greek do different that Bruno doesn't?
Slightly different, as we say. Obviously, they have some similar aspects as well, but he's come to light in these kind of areas. When the ball's in wide areas, he drifts into that danger area between penalty spot and goalpost, and he likes to drift off the back of the back centre-back. Now watch, as the ball goes wide, here we are. Here's our two centre-backs. Look at him trying to stay in that area where they can't see ball and player. And that just makes it really, really hard for defenders then, because they can't concentrate on both. They can't open their body up enough to see, and then he gets into those areas.
We see him score a lot of headers, Macca.
Yes, he's got 3 headers, I believe, so far, but this is great movement. He just moves away, and this looks like it's an area that's not a danger area, but he's so good with in the air that he can get the power and the direction. Here he is again. Watch now. We talk about using your body. There he is. He shields the ball just as the defender's about to come near him and wants to make that challenge. He steps across the line. We'll see it again here. He's got the front line. Now he can wait for the challenge to come, but he gets his body across and uses his right foot when the defender's on his left foot to give him that extra time and yard to get that shot away. From a tight angle, it's a good finish again.
Now this one, we touched on Nikos Vergos in the centre of your picture here. The gap between him and Samuel Suprayon. Why is it so effective, and is it a move that he is in his locker?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Again, we talked about being in the back of the defenders. Now watch him here. He's just waiting to see what happens here. As soon as he sees that his teammate's going to square up the defender, watch his run. And now drifts into the back area because he knows, and he realises once it gets to that area right near the byline, it's either got to go over the keeper or best case, it's going to come back. So he makes that movement into that space. Defenders don't see it. And that's the half a second or a second you need, and it's a goal.
Zinedine Machach. Now, he hit great heights last year. Individually was fantastic. Many have said sometimes this year that he perhaps hasn't hit those same heights, but when he's on, he's on. How dangerous is Zinedine Machach, and what makes him so dangerous?
Well, he's got the real combination of not only has he got strength, he's got skill on the ball, but he's got that drive and determination. We see him so often in tight areas. Now look here, 1, 2, 3, 4 players around him. But you think with the old saying, a big man doesn't have a good touch. Well, his strength and his touch are fantastic. He's happy to get the ball in real tight areas. Look at this, right around third gate, one in behind, one coming in front, and he rockets it into the top corner. He is extremely good in tight areas. Here he is picking up the ball and driving into defence. If they're not going to close him down, he'll move that ball quickly. But see how he used the runs of his teammates. Daniel Arzani on one side, one middle, one wide, to really look. The defenders are now following the runners, and he's using that until he gets to the point where now I'm engaging this one. I can take him out of the game. I've got half a yard, and I'll finish. And he is very lethal around the edge of the box. Now, this one was on the weekend against the Mariners. Almost pushed Ryan Teague out of the way to say, hey, this is my area. You can see what I can do here. And he turns around and says, look, what are you in my way for? That's the kind of areas that he can cause real damage. Last year, he caused a little bit more damage too with his guile and his finesse finishing. And we're seeing this year he's a lot more power, which can work against him at times.
So we've seen the good of Zinedine Machach. Some of the times where it hasn't quite worked out for him, but still got himself in good positions, or when he's had some near misses this season with Zinedine Machach. Take us through this one.
Yeah, we've had quite a few of these this year, but this is a great run. This is what he does. He gets the ball, he goes forward. Daniel Arzani gets into a good position, but that is probably overhit by 1 metre or 2 metres, and that's enough for him to be stretching for that ball, which is enough to make him slip. Great 1-2 play. But they're probably the little moments that Victory, we keep saying they're so lethal. We want to see him score more goals. That little overhit pass can be enough that's what's causing them to not get the goals.
Edge of the box here. Obviously the defender, maybe some people have question marks over it. What do you like about his positioning that he takes up there? And is there that he has this ability to arrive at the right time? Yeah,
well, you can see that he knows that the strikers are going to go in and fill that area and drag all the defenders into the penalty box area right in around the 6 yard. He holds his line at the end. He'll be disappointed with that. We spoke about how he's using power more often this year. We saw a little bit more finesse. I think on that occasion, he'll wish he might have just picked his spot to put it away.
So we've seen the goal-scoring antics of Bruno and Nikos Vergos. What about the creativity that each of them brings to the side? Because they've both got assists this season, but both of them operate in different ways. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, look, there are similarities, but I think Vergos is a little bit more mobile and is willing to stretch wide. But when we look at Fornaroli, he likes to try to stay central as much as possible. He does like to come on. Yeah, here we see here. They've won the ball back, and that's him there. Yep, look, see how he's halfway between the back line and the midfield line, but because they won the ball. Arzani, again, like we talk about Arzani not having many assists and goals. But see his positioning there. Arzani's position here now has him worried about. That's why he's been dropping off to cover this area as well. The run from Teague. That's why the defender on that side was staying in. So he is allowed to stay into that position because he can see where his teammates are running. He's turned, and as we said, finesse on the ball, wonderful ball, ends up with a goal.
Nikos Vergos, like I said, different profile of player. Nikos Vergos, probably fair to say, is a bit more of a box player than Bruno is in this current version of Bruno Fornaroli, but again, contributes in terms of creativity when it comes to this attacking quartet. Yeah, he does. Look, he can do the same. He can come short and be that link-up play as well, but he also sometimes likes to drift into the wider areas. Here we see the ball come into the wide area. There he is dropping the ball down. Now, as the ball goes forward, he's going to go into that wide area, yeah? Now, Bruno Fornaroli probably wouldn't get out there in that space. He'd be thinking, I've got to get straight into the central areas. Vergos, he knows he's got the pace to get out there and the delivery to get that ball into the back post for Santos. That's a wonderful ball. Free player at the back post. Good vision as well. He's looking right across the line and sees it. I just have to hang that up in that area. Good in wide areas, knows he's got the pace to get into these areas. And now this is the kind of areas we talk about Bruno Fornaroli that all good nines will do. Dropping into those lines between defenders and midfielders, causing the problems in the defence. And this is what all good nines will do. They come into that space in between the lines, face forward and hope that they get forward runs going behind the defensive line. Traore does it on this occasion and it's a wonderful finish. There you have it. That's the analysis of the tactician, Daniel McBreen. It will be fascinating to see what happens in this weekend's clash between the Western Sydney Wanderers and Melbourne Victory.